What a coincidence.
It is a coincidence. What is the coincidence?
No, there's a lot of coincidences that happen.
Oh, I can believe that.
You know?
Coincidence we met.
Yeah, it is a coincidence. But you know how people say sometimes they're walking down the street and they bump into somebody you haven't seen in a long time, like, oh my God, what a coincidence. What they fail to realize is that every day they walk down the street, they never see that person. And they notice the things that are unusual in everyday life.
Of course.
But coincidences happen to me every day when I do this next effect.
All right. Sounds like the name of a trick.
Yeah, it is. It's double coincidence.
Why don't you do it?
Would you like to see it?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think they want to see it. That's no coincidence either.
No, no. Do you want to see it? Do they want to see it?
All right, then I'll do it, all right?
Okay.
All right. Let's have this young lady right over here. Could you shuffle the deck up for me?
Okay.
Any way you'd like?
Oh, you must be a card player.
Yeah, except that way. No, I'm just joking.
This is the only way I know.
Okay, perfect. Just on cue. What we're going to do right now is to make a prediction. I'm not going to change the order of the cards. I'm just going to simply take a look and see what the... you know what? I'm going to go with this one right over here. And you know, I'm really feeling this right over here. I'm going to go with that one. All right? And I haven't changed the order, correct?
No, I've been watching. You haven't.
Well, they won't believe you.
Okay.
This is my prediction right over here. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask you, sir, what's your first name?
Greg.
Greg, nice to meet you. I'm going to ask you to deal from the top, right down on the table. Just deal down. Actually, I should tell you, you can deal from the center, bottom, anywhere you want. Just put a packet of cards down. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. For as long as you want. You can stop when you want. I just want this to be completely at random.
Well,
because
that's really at random.
coincidences seem to be at random, right?
Yes, yes,
Are
indeed.
you happy?
Sure.
Great. You can hold on to the rest of the deck so we don't confuse anything over here. I'm going to ask these two beautiful young ladies that are closest to me to open up your hand. Palm up. There we go. I'm going to exhaust all of the cards. What I mean is I'm just going to deal them on each of their hand, just like so. I'm going to deal it just like this. You're looking at me like you're trying to look for a trick. There is no trick. This is a coincidence, Johnny. Completely a coincidence. Completely a coincidence.
What happens if we don't have a coincidence?
Well, then we won't use it. Then it won't be a coincidence. So, recap, Johnny. Go ahead.
Right,
Give us a quick recap.
I'll give you a quick recap. This young lady shuffled the cards many times. You took out 2 cards as predictions, but you didn't rearrange the cards at all. This gentleman dealt from everywhere, the middle, the bottom, the top, until he exhausted the cards he wanted to deal. Then you took those cards and dealt them out until you exhausted the cards, and these are the last 2 cards that you stopped at.
Sounds good.
Would you be so kind to turn over this card over here? And would you be so kind to turn over this card over here? Those are the 2 cards that were randomly picked. Yet before we even began, after you shuffled, without changing any order, I made a prediction. It's actually not even a prediction. It's a coincidence if they find their own me. Huh?
I think it's a trick.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out. You have the Queen of Clubs, 2 diamonds. Would you be kind to turn over one of the cards? 2 of Hearts.
Well, that's certainly more than a coincidence.
Well, this is going to be the double coincidence right now. Would you be kind enough to see if we got it right? And we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. You can call that a coincidence. I call it a great trick.
I call it a double coincidence. Happens to me every time I do it. And I guarantee it's going to happen to them as well.
As long as you teach them.
We'll do that right now. So this, Johnny, is a double card prediction that involves two different people.
Yeah, it's one of those great predictions when you have two spectators that you can utilize the fact that you have two people. So what you do is you say, would one of you shuffle the pack of
Well, that's the
cards?
wonderful thing. There is no preset
At all. This you can just do with anybody's cards at any time.
So you can cut the deck, whatever you want to do, boom, done.
Shuffle it, mix it in any way. Once they're mixed, the magician takes the cards back and states that he's going to remove two cards, prediction for each of the two people. Now what you're going to go through here and what you really want to do is cite the two top cards of the pack. There's the 5 of clubs and the 8 of diamonds. So I'm going to remove their mates as predictions. I'm going to take out the 5 of spades and the 8 of hearts. So once I've cited the cards, I go through and I look for the 5 of spades and the 8 of hearts. And
Which, again, to reiterate, is their mates.
That's correct.
So,
and I place the 5 of spades out here, and then I look for the 8 of hearts. And apparently I've missed it going through here, but there's no hurry.
You're going to basically say, I'm thinking, I want you to just look at me, and I'm going to get an impression of what I think you're going to state.
Now, I've placed, of course, the 5 of spades and the 8 of hearts. And I point out that I have not rearranged the cards in any way, that I just removed two. They're still in the same order that the person shuffled them in. Now you hand them to one of the spectators and you say, I'd like you to start dealing cards from the deck you just shuffled, one at a time, face down onto the table. After they deal two cards, which is our two cards that actually match the predictions, that's the 5 and the 8, once those are dealt, I stop him and I say, oh, by the way, you can deal from anywhere. This is the selling point of the trick and all that they remember. You say, you can deal from the top, or you can deal from the bottom, you can deal from the middle. You could take blocks of 8 or 10 cards at a time until you feel like stopping.
Stop.
Okay. Now, you take the remainder of the pack and you say, pick the cards up you've just dealt. And remember, you've dealt them from everywhere. Now I'd like you to deal them into the other person's hands. You have the other spectator hold out their hands and say, deal a card into each hand alternately until you exhaust all the cards you have in your hands. And again, while this is happening, you can point out the fairness of the entire process. Of course, when they finish dealing these cards, the last two cards dealt are going to be the two force cards that they're not even aware that you're forcing on them. They match the predictions, aren't they?
They show that.
That's the 5 and the 8.
So that's what they're going to get as their selection.
Yeah.
So they think they got the 5 of clubs and the 8 of diamonds.
Purely by chance. And they are placed out on the table. The cards are
You're going to make a big deal about this now, because here was your prediction in full view at all times. And now their selections are going to be revealed.
Yes, and we show them that's the 5 and the 8. And I try to set them back down so they'll be in the correct order to match these two cards.
Sure.
If they were like this, it would be just that. I place them in the correct order. If they were in the correct order, I wouldn't change them. And now I turn these over, and of course, all four match.
So the important thing to note is that whatever the two cards are on the top,
those are the two cards you're going to remove after they've
you're going to look for their mate. So if it's the 3 of clubs, you're going to look for the 3 of spades. If it's the 7 of diamonds, you're going to look for the 7 of hearts, and so on and so forth.
And that's the secret
Great effect.
of the double prediction.
Practice it.